Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on the socials, Facebook, 10, and the IG. And listen to us on Spotify for podcasters or wherever you get your podcasts. We are out there. And watch us on YouTube as we continue our YouTube journey. Well, we are in looking back at week 6 here in the NFL. A very strange week on so many different levels, and we'll get into all of that. We being myself and of course my tag team partner Mike. Mike, how the heck are you? It looks like your studio is in full bloom.
Yeah, we're working on it. Still some technical adjustments I'm sure to be made, and any feedback our tens of fans have, I'd appreciate. Be kind, however. Um, but yeah, it was a strange week. The NFL has a couple of those every year, and this was our first one this season. But we'll get into that. First, Dave, two things I want to touch on our social medias. First of all, the tier maker we did last week. We got a lot of views on it, a lot of input. Probably the most things that I heard, or the only thing that really popped up is we had Pittsburgh rated a little too low. When we went back and forth, if anyone listened to the actual podcast that went along with it,
Yeah.
we went back and forth and settled at underachieving. But we thank you for that, and it was a lot of fun to do. So
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah, we'll keep doing that. And then today we put up a Twitter poll and also on Instagram and Facebook
Yep.
for you olds that still go on Facebook, including myself.
Yep.
And that question is, which 5-1 team should be at the top of this week's power rankings? And hand up, I messed up because there's 5 teams and only 4 slots on Twitter. But to be frank, I just forgot about the Niners. That loss to the Browns was so heartbreaking to me, and we'll get into why in a minute, that I just took the 49ers out of my thoughts for a little while. Anyway,
Yeah.
right now, early in the voting, the Lions are leading with 86% of the vote. And then the Chiefs are second with 14, and the Dolphins and the Eagles yet to register any fans on there. So, Dave, what do you think? Or write in the San Francisco 49ers. If we had to do a power rankings, which we don't really do here in the NFL because
Yeah.
there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion? What did you vote? And if so, what did you vote for?
I have not voted. I will be open there. When you look at it, as far as complete teams go, I think the 49ers are at the top. I mean, offensively, they've been so good. Defensively, they've only given up 87 points. Just right there, second to those pesky Cleveland Browns. As far as that goes, it'll be interesting. Christian McCaffrey got hurt and Deebo Samuel got hurt, and so there's some
Williams
pieces.
got hurt. Yeah,
right. So
left tackle.
right.
Yeah.
So there's some pieces there, but I think right now, I think they're the best. I really do like the Lions. I like the momentum and things that they have, but I think when you look at longevity for teams, the Lions, I think, are going to be good all year too, but I think the 49ers are better. Certainly the Chiefs are good. The Dolphins offense is ridiculously explosive, but their defense can be had. They've given up 156 points. So I can't complete team. I'm looking at the Niners as one, and then maybe the Chiefs at 2.
Yeah, I think all of them have their flaws for sure, except maybe the Lions. Although David Montgomery being hurt is going to be
that's
huge.
a big blow.
We'll get into that when we get into their game. But yeah, I voted for the Lions just because of all the injuries for the Niners at incredibly important positions. Your starting left tackle, who's been just a stud, and we saw Purdy not handle that pressure once Williams was in. He came back in the game, but he really wasn't himself.
Mhm.
But anyway, uh, good fodder, good chance to let us know your opinions, good old fashioned sports talk. If you want to engage there on the social medias with us, we'd appreciate that.
Yep.
Speaking of engaged, Dave, you and I had the Sunday Night Football, the Think Tank Bowl, as Stevie covers,
Yes, the think
dubbed
tank
it,
bowl.
and
Oof.
your Bills prevailed 14-9. Um, and to the victor go the spoils. So the floor is yours. Tell me what you saw in this game from your and the Bills' perspective.
Yeah, for the most part, the defense played pretty well. What I didn't like is, the Giants got some good field position on turnovers and they turned it into field goals at least. But that was challenging. The Bills offense, I don't know what to say. I mean, they didn't score any of their points until the fourth quarter, when they had well, they had a drive that took up almost half of the third quarter and got into the fourth when they scored the touchdown, and then had another long drive to get the next touchdown. So they got it going when they needed to,
Mhm.
as far as that goes, but that kind of performance is not going to get it done against some of the better teams, and they've got a lot of games left. They still have to play the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Cowboys,
Right.
amongst teams left on their schedule. So that part has got to change. For me, I'm not crazy about Josh Allen. What feels to me like exclusively going to Stephon Diggs and nobody else. And I think that part is, I mean, you saw it in this game, right? He completed 19 passes and 10 of them were to Diggs, and he targeted him 16 times. Don't get me wrong. I love
So can I give
Stephon
you my
Diggs.
theory on that
He's
real
great,
quick?
but he's got to be able to spread the ball around. Yes, please do so.
Um, One, I do think, as much as I like Gabe Davis, I don't think he's a two. He's a very good three. And they made, roster moves giving Gabe Davis the two spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a separation receiver. He's very good, very big, strong. I'd love to have him on the Giants. Don't get me wrong. Um, and the they still haven't solved the tight end issue as well. So that kind of limits your options. I really thought James Cook was going to catch the ball out of the backfield more as well. I thought he would be more of an Austin Eckler, Marshall Faulk type, even his brother Dalvin, catching the ball. And maybe that's
Yeah.
why, because of his brother, but they don't seem to get it to him. But all of that is one thing. Is it the off the field nonsense that we've brushed aside with Diggs and Allen? And are they not getting along? And, is Allen deferring to Diggs a little too much? Almost like Hurts for Philadelphia looks for A.J. Brown first and second before he even picks Devontae
Yeah.
Smith or another option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you
Yeah.
think of all that? Yeah.
I mean, I think that Diggs and Allen pretty much squashed all of that stuff when those stories came out. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's the case.
Okay.
Your stuff with James Cook is interesting, and I hadn't caught this. I'm looking at the numbers now that they didn't even throw a pass towards James Cook. I did see him open a
Right.
few times, and that has always been the plan. So I'm not sure what was going on.
And
Did
Latavius Murray certainly is not going to catch the ball out of the backfield. Never has in his career. I
nope.
like him as a backup for
Yeah.
for what you guys have going, but
Yeah. 12
he's
carries,
not the change
45
of
yards.
pace.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
fine. So
Yep.
there's still some stuff to work out. That being said, the Bills are 4-2. They won this game. Um, it is very interesting how the Giants. So the Bills ended up with 3 sacks. I thought they were going to get way more than that. The Giants' offensive line
Sure.
seemed to just gel as the game went along, which I mean it's shocking with how many changes they had, and then they lose somebody else during the game. And, you got our boy Justin Pugh from Syracuse saying straight off the couch, which was hilarious, by the way, if you saw the
Yeah.
player introductions as the offense was going. I was really surprised because I thought the Bills would really dominate them up front. And they did, for like the first couple of possessions. And then
Right.
after that, the Bills didn't really get in there. And that allowed, a veteran and a former Bill like Tyrod Taylor to keep the Giants in the game. And then, Saquon had a couple of big runs, which again was surprising because the first couple drives, every time they hand the
He did
ball
not.
off, the
Yeah.
Bills were in the backfield.
Right.
So, kudos to the Giants for that. I'm not impressed. I feel like the Bills should have just, more of a steamroll. Instead, this game literally comes down to two plays in the same end zone. You won at the end of the first half, where the Giants have the ball. They need to do a pass play. They don't have any more timeouts, and Tyrod Taylor gets up to the
I
line and then changes, and you see him, do this, and he changes to a run play. And the
right.
Bill and you couldn't do that. You just couldn't, and the Bills stopped it. And so the Giants didn't get any points there. They showed Brian Daboll screaming all over the place, and come to find out, yeah, he had told Tyrod they needed to pass there. Um,
Right.
so that was tough. And then, the last two
Quickly,
plays.
my question is, why is Kafka and Dable calling a play with a run option even? You know what I mean? I understand maybe you like the pass
Yeah.
option of that play so much, but don't
Yeah.
even, especially with a backup, veteran or not, backup quarterback, backup offensive line, call the play. We're running this play. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, we'll still have 9 or 10 seconds to run another play.
Right. It has to be a pass there. There's no
Has
run
to be a
pass
pass.
option,
Right.
as far as that goes. So, that play certainly did not go well for the Giants, and everybody's, going crazy. And then the last, two plays of the game, right? There's a pass
Right.
interference with like 8 seconds to go in the end zone. So they get the ball on the 1 yard line. And then I'm remembering that. Yeah, there was that pass
Yep.
interference gave them. And then the next play was the last play, right?
Right to Waller in the back of the end zone, which, any other time of this game, they're going to call interference on that probably.
Yeah, interference
Waller's
or
going to make
holding, either way.
right.
Taron Johnson is on
Holding his
Waller.
arm. Right.
He's holding him. He's interfering. I mean, there's no question. And I think, as Mike said it, I think the fact that in that point in the game, and the fact that they had just called one, which
Right.
really, quite honestly, was eerily similar
Right.
to the one that they didn't call on the last play. So they're not going to call it 2 times in a row, I guess. I thought for sure they were going to throw another flag, and there was no time left as far as that goes. So tough loss for the Giants, certainly, because they I think what you said, Mike, in your text, like they stood up and played well against one of the better teams in the league, and that has to be promising, despite the fact that the Giants are now 1-5.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the effort and heart I've been looking for out of this team all season, and frankly, hasn't really been there. So I am encouraged by that for sure. The second half, the way the line played, like you said. Now, granted, if we're going into the rest of the season with that line, we're in trouble. Andrew Thomas has to get back on the field.
Yeah.
I don't. They keep saying every week it's like, oh, he's going to practice, and if he practices Thursday and Friday, he'll play Sunday. And limited practice, no practice, and he doesn't rest. And I'm not calling him soft. I'm really not. But we need him out there. He absolutely has to be out there for us.
Yeah. He's a huge
Also,
balancing act. You got to be able to know that left side of your line is going to be okay.
Right. And also Darren Waller has to step up.
Yeah.
He's getting plenty of targets, and yes, he was being held on that last play of the game, but you got to make a better effort, come through the defender and get your hand on it, or make
Yeah.
it even more obvious.
Yeah.
Was it a perfect pass? No.
No.
But certainly, something he could have worked with. For Waller, I haven't seen the all pro effort for the
Mm-hmm.
Giants. He talks a big game. He looks great in uniform, and when he's open, it's when he's wide open, it's great.
Yeah.
But I just don't see him making plays yet. So I was happy the way Saquon played, for coming back from injury, and
Yep.
they kind of had him on a little bit of a pitch count and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that builds, and the defense, this Okereke, the linebacker that we got from the Colts, all over the field. We got turnovers. Still not enough pressure for my taste from the front line.
No sacks of Josh
something
Allen.
to build on. Right. Effort wise, something to build on. You were toe to toe with a far superior team, whether they are going to admit that out loud or not.
Right.
That'll give you some confidence. And we go forward from here. The idea of us being any kind of feisty playoff contender at the end of the season's over. Was probably over 2 weeks ago, but at 1-5, it's just not happening. Danny Dimes needs to come back though, and the way they were talking, it might not be this week either. Neck injuries are tough. You could wake up and feel great, and you could wake up and be paralyzed. And then obviously I'm two extremes there. Certainly.
No. But I get it. No, the neck injuries, you have to be extra careful with those.
Right.
It's not a
right.
pulled
It's
muscle in your arm or something, like it's
right.
a strained tendon or something. It's your neck, it's your spine, it's what keeps your whole body together. So, yep, definitely some big concerns there as far as that goes.
Did you have a problem? You mentioned that Daboll going nuts on Tyrod and then really throwing him under the bus in the press conference. Veteran quarterback, deserves respect for sure.
Yeah.
Did you have a problem with him doing that?
No, I mean, I think that, I think for Daboll, he's just trying to be honest. Everybody saw it. I mean, it's a tough spot, but I think he can do that with a veteran because Tyrod Taylor probably knows, that was tough. That was a, my bad
mistake,
kind of thing, and so he can do that with a veteran. So no, I don't have any issues with it. We think about the Yankees and how Aaron Boone never calls anybody out. So call somebody out every once in a while. That's okay.
It's October, Dave. We don't think about the Yankees in October anymore.
Yeah, no. Clearly we do not.
All right. Well, I really don't have anything else to say. We need to get healthy at the right positions, especially the left tackle on the line and the center. If we can get those two guys back this week, and Danny Dimes can, even if Tyrod's in there again, as long as we don't see your boy Tommy DeVito. I mean, we can't. He was the backup quarterback activated from the practice squad.
Yeah.
And the moment I saw that, I was like, "Oh, we're really in trouble this week." But
yeah.
Let's go back. Last Thursday, Dave, was the Broncos and the Chiefs. Really not much to say. Chiefs win 19-8 in a fairly ugly, typical Thursday night, sloppy penalties. Nobody's really playing at a high level. But for the Chiefs, I guess the only reason I really want to touch on that game is they really haven't put a game together yet.
No.
And other than Travis Kelce, and this is something I've said, pretty much every game this year for the Chiefs, what are they getting out of anybody else? It'd be interesting to see if they develop, that Rice kid is starting to come around. Of course, old friend Kadarius Toney certainly has explosive talent. Um,
3 catches for 9 yards.
yeah,
I mean, he did get a
uh,
touchdown, right?
right,
Um, but
right.
yeah, no, I agree with you.
They got to do
There's,
something there. Yeah,
yeah, and but that's the case. Yeah, not really much else to say. And that's probably the scary part for the league, right? Is the Chiefs are 5-1, and um,
haven't played well yet.
haven't really played all that well. We'll get to the Eagles. I mean, that's another team. Of course, that's different.
Sure.
But Mike, this, we've mentioned the Niners Browns game. Um,
Hmm.
the two stout defenses. Um, Cleveland just holding the Niners completely in check in the second half. The Niners get a touchdown on a bad interception that gets them down close, really close, and then they punch it in from there to go ahead. But you know, the Browns were feisty. PJ Walker, had some good moments in this game.
Absolutely.
He's the third string guy. I mean, he's played a little bit. Um, as far
Oh,
as
he's
that
been around the
goes.
league, yeah, for sure. And he played a lot in the, I don't know if it was the USFL or the AAF or one of those. He was pretty much the star of all of those summer leagues that they tried to throw at us.
But
So he certainly has some ability.
yeah, but just a lot of field goals is kind of a theme all of these games. Hopkins has 4 field goals
Right.
for the Browns. And, then, the big one is, the Browns get the field goal, kind of leave too much time on the clock, honestly.
Yeah, I thought
Um,
so too.
and just
And
some bad play. I think there was a play where, I'm trying to remember, somebody could have gone down or went out of bounds instead of staying inbounds, and it stopped the clock.
right.
And so they ended up, the Niners had time and got down the field and set up, Jake Moody. Here's the rookie from Michigan, where he made all these great field goals. I think he's the all-time
Is
leading.
it Jake Feely?
No, Jake Moody.
Moody. Okay.
Yes. And he lines it up, and you feel like, oh, it's gonna, it's game over, even though Cleveland has played so gamely and everything looks good. And he lines it up and he misses it, Mike. Um,
Yeah.
and not by a lot, but wide right as far as that goes. And the Browns are just going crazy. Um, and the
Yeah, they
Niners,
did react like they won the Super Bowl.
yeah,
And
yeah,
here's a big win for them. Uh,
sure.
Purdy really, this was the first time he was called on to win a game for his team. Like you said before, Steve Samuels was out, McCaffrey was out, so he had to be the catalyst for the offense. And he didn't do a great job most of the game. Didn't handle the pressure well. Um,
No.
but the final drive, he did what he had to do, and that's what winning quarterbacks do.
Yep.
Made a couple of nice passes,
Mm-hmm.
good game management. Certainly got them well within field goal range, and he just missed. Now, if you're a fan of our Lose With Us podcast, you would know that I had the Browns 49ers over 37 and a half. And that missed field goal not only cost the Niners the game, it cost every gambler in the world that had that over because the total ended up being 36. So 36 plus 3 would have been 39, and
Yep.
you would have moved forward. So another lesson in that's why you don't gamble, because really everything went right and the ball was in the air to win the game, and they just missed it. When are we ever going to get the laser beams straight up in the air off the tops of the field goal posts? Because I'm still, depending on what angle you look at, he missed it. I've
Yeah.
accepted that, of course, but still, I'd like to have seen, uh, you know, if it would have hit a laser beam or whatever. But that's for 50 years from now podcast, I guess.
Yep. Yep. As far as that goes, but yeah, very, very interesting, close game.
We had another London game early in the morning Sunday. I don't know if you were running a second marathon or not, but
No, I was not.
Ravens beat the Titans in a 24-16. A lot of penalties, a lot of sloppiness, especially in the first half. Um, and Tannehill gets hurt. We see my boy Malik Willis get a few series and didn't play badly, but just couldn't do what Brock Purdy did and get his team in a position to win.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson did what he does. He ran all over the place, made some spectacular runs, hit some open receivers, and got the job done against a Titans team that's going to be tough. I don't think they're very good as far as win loss goes, but they're not a
No.
team you look forward to playing either.
No.
I don't
And
know if you had any tea and crumpets.
No tea and crumpets. 6 field goals for Justin Tucker.
Right.
Again, just ugh, you don't like to see field goals, like to see some touchdowns, and but yeah, that's
Derrick
how.
Henry had some fun, like throwback runs. I forget how fast he is. We always think
Yeah.
about how strong he is and the stiff arms and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, there was one run where he just got to the edge of the line and exploded past the linebacker, past the safety, and it was breathtaking to see. He still has that burst, so good for him. Vikings Bears, Dave. The only reason I'm mentioning this is the Bears had Justin Fields get hurt.
Yep.
And they brought in Tyson Badgett, excuse me, from Division II Shepherd College. I have no idea where Shepherd College is located, but it doesn't matter because he didn't play terribly. He had one really bad interception where he underthrew the ball and went right to the corner, but overall, he didn't play terribly, I didn't think. But the only reason I bring this up after I say all that is you got to, folks, Google his father. Tyson Badgett's father is an all-time world-class arm wrestler.
Oh, jeez.
Super aggro, aggressive, just trash talking, beating everybody, old school arm wrestler. So, and the videos of him are out there are pretty entertaining. So, I can get behind the son of an arm wrestler doing well in the NFL.
Yep, that's very interesting stuff, Mike. Thank you for connecting the arm wrestling into our podcast. A good movie if you haven't seen it, Over the Top, Sylvester Stallone.
I was just going to say, when I turn my head, I feel like a truck.
Yeah.
Or the all-time lines.
Yep. So go watch that. Right. If you can find it, you probably have to pay for it, which is ridiculous, quite honestly. Where
do you want to go next, buddy? Anything that
nothing crazy. I mean, we mentioned the Lions are 5-1, so they went on the road to Tampa Bay and won 20-6. That's a good positive NFC game for them. We talked about it last week, the opportunity for them to play against another division leader and do that. But again, the injury to David Montgomery is huge. And, Jared Goff throws for 353 yards and, he just continues to play really, really well.
And he's really feeling confident now. Like he's a natural leader on that team. And that Amon-Ra St. Brown has really blossomed into a number 1 receiver. I didn't think he was a 1. I thought he was a 2 or even a slot, but he's really nice. And that team's rolling, dude. Very interesting to see what they do without Montgomery the next 4 to 6 weeks, they're saying. But I think Dan Campbell, the defense is playing great, and he's going to have the boys ready, and fired up at every game. That was a decent Tampa team they beat. It wasn't that wasn't a pushover by any means. So good on them.
Yep. And
Dave,
They go to Baltimore this next Sunday.
Uh,
Um,
so that'll be a good
so
litmus
that is
test,
going to
like
be a
legitimate
very
playoff contender, tough
legitimate, yeah,
defense. Yep.
tough defense. Yeah. So 2 road games in a row for Detroit. We will see again how they favor and line up against a really, really good Ravens team.
Absolutely. Two teams that are considered really good, although their records, well, they're fairly similar now, are the Bengals and the Seahawks. And the real Geno Smith showed up in this one, Dave, and he really struggled, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
And the Bengals defense really just put the clamps down on the Sea Chickens and gave them nothing in the second half except a field goal. And it just wasn't pretty by any means. This is not going in the football time
Oh
capsule.
no, definitely not.
17-13.
Yeah.
Bengals all of a sudden now are 3-3.
Yep.
And, the AFC contenders like your Bills have to be just kind of looking in the rearview mirror and noticing them back there. Because we know they can get dangerous in a hurry. And
Yep.
Joe Burrow said he finally felt like he could push off with full strength from his calf and not even think about it. So he's
Yep.
back to being healthy. So.
Yep. And you could see that in the game, some of the throws that he made and the movements around. He wasn't doing that 2 weeks ago or even the week before that. So, yep,
Mhm.
looks like he's getting healthy. So that's something we'll continue to monitor, obviously,
Sure.
as things go here
You
during
want
the
to get
season.
to Stevie's Jets?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. I think everybody kind of looked at this like, oh, the Eagles are gonna, kind of steamroll the Jets, and uh, not the case, Mike. The
No.
um, the Jets defense. Uh, I don't know why. People they didn't start out this season. I guess there was some games where maybe they didn't play maybe as well as they would have liked to.
In
Um,
particular, the Dallas game.
yeah,
Right.
but they are immensely talented, and
Yes.
they made a very, very good Eagles team look pedestrian. I mean, they just were all over the Eagles. um the interceptions and yeah,
Three
yeah.
interceptions, including the one to seal it, which was just a nice play. Big Quentin Williams gets a ricochet shot back towards the defensive line, and it ends up in his stomach. And we got a fat guy running for a
Fat
touchdown, although
guy running.
he
Yep.
didn't make it, but still,
No.
impressive defense. And frankly, Zach Wilson did what he had to do. He wasn't spectacular, but they didn't need him to be. 19 for 33, 186 yards, no touchdowns, but no interceptions.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 21 times for 89 yards, so they stayed with the run. But their defense kind of led the charge here. And Dave, are the Jets good at 3-3? Are they good?
I mean, they're game, right? They're a game
Okay.
team.
All right.
I think once Aaron Rodgers was lost, that we had kind of everybody had said, what would be, and I think we even talked about it, like, what is the barometer for, Robert Saleh to be back? And we were like, well, if he has like 7 or 8 wins by the end of the year, so he's,
Right.
close to 500, that would be good. Well, the Jets are now at 500 with their first victory ever against the Eagles in their history. So that was nice. Yeah, I mean, the Jets can hang around, certainly because of their defense. And does their defense give them enough opportunities to take advantage of some of it and get some, short fields and put them in position so their offense doesn't have to do a ton and can score? And that's what you saw in this game. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the
I'm
verdict is
still
still
not sold
out
on
on
Roger.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And so again, he didn't play bad in this game. Uh, but they have to manage him.
Right. No, if Zach Wilson needs to do what Brock Purdy had to do for the Niners,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson had to do to beat the Titans, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
We've seen that act before. Two things real quick.
Yep.
Robert Saleh, I'm not sold on him at all from a Jets perspective. Still not sold on him. He gets to the press conference. He just can't help himself. Talks about a dominating win, and they're not 12-0 no more against the Jets, and like talking trash against a really good Eagles team that
Yeah.
you probably don't want to wake that giant for sure. And then Aaron Rodgers, this video comes out over the weekend of him throwing the ball on the sidelines and pregame, and he's wearing a headset and coaching up everybody on the sidelines. What do you think about that, Dave? Do you think and of course the announcers are like, look how great he is. He's so awesome that, even the awesome falls off him and touches one of the Jets players, and makes them awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I mean,
what do you think?
They talked about after Rodgers got hurt that the hope would be and the expectation would be, that he would be on the sidelines and helping with the team and doing everything he could. So from that perspective, it's not all that surprising. I think there's an ego piece to him,
Yes.
where he says, hey, look at me, I'm out on the field,
He did not have to be
throwing the
playing
ball.
catch, right?
Like,
Right.
okay, but your upper body didn't get damaged here,
Right.
so you can still, even if you can, so you can stand up and you're not on crutches, you still have a strong arm and you could still, throw the ball around, but you're not going to be on the field
You're not
anytime
pushing
soon.
off at all from the back foot.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
so I think some of it's an ego, and because everybody's obsessed with him every time he's on the sidelines, and we already know the Jets are going to be, on TV a ton of times because they set that up expecting Aaron Rodgers to be there. We're going to continue to see this, Mike, for the rest of the season. As sad as
Probably.
that is.
From the Eagles' perspective, real quick, boy, the Jalen Hurts trajectory from the beginning of last season has been straight up. He's probably the best player on the field in the Super Bowl last year, even though they didn't win.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think it's certainly in a plateau. Right now, if not starting to decline a little bit. He was pressured, and you expect he's made plays with his feet before, but he's just not scrambling and running around. Lane Johnson goes out, and that line just fell apart. They did the opposite of what the Giants line did in the second half. They fell apart without. I think Kelsey was out the whole game, but Lane Johnson goes out at right tackle, and the Jets pass rush was all over him. So, and when they sent Miles Sanders or they just didn't re-sign him.
Right.
He's in Carolina. They really don't have a running game, they're really not as diverse as they should be. So just keep an eye on that Jalen Hurts performance this week against, as you rightly said, an incredible Jets defense. Yeah. Anybody could look like that, but he hasn't looked great all year, and he is deferring. What did I see? 71% of his pass attempts have gone to AJ Brown over the first 6 games here. And Devontae Smith dropped a couple of really catchable balls, which is odd for him.
Devontae Smith target 11 times, 5 catches.
Right. And the bulk of those were drops.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, keep an eye out on Hurts and the quarterback play, and especially the line play for Philadelphia.
Yep. Agreed. But,
so we should,
great win for the Jets.
Yep.
On the heels of seeing, the 49ers go down as an undefeated team, and then the Jets, follow suit and knock the Eagles out from the undefeated. So the 72 Dolphins, whoever's left, can pop their champagne, which is not many of them.
I saw on Twitter that very statement, and it was just like a picture of them from like 1984 popping champagne.
Yeah, because Bonacani was in there, and he looked young and Jim like, holy cow, that's from a while ago. As far as that goes, but so good games.
Yeah, Monday night game actually was pretty entertaining, even though the guys with the stars in their helmet ended up winning the game. 20-17. Probably Justin Herbert's worst performance, Dave, that I've seen. Not because they lost necessarily, but he just made some bad throws that usually he hits Keenan Allen. He had a couple of times wide open. He just made a terrible throw. He
Mhm.
had that super tall Fam, the tight end, in the end zone, and he just like threw it into the third row. I don't know. He just looked really off last night, and it ended up costing them the game. He was 22 for 37, 227 yards, two touchdowns, and an interception. Um, Austin Eckler returns, but that Dallas defense, not only is their pass rush incredible, but they stop the run. They just do. Uh, Either they're sacking the quarterback or they're meeting the running back in the backfield with a handoff. So it's hard to get anything done on the ground there with them. But
Yeah, 23 carries for 53 yards
ouch.
for the Chargers. So not great numbers. But again, you have to know that coming in and be able to balance that. And I think, if you're the Chargers, you say, okay, the balance is we're depending on Justin Herbert to play better. And when he doesn't, they're going to lose games like this. And so now the Chargers fall to 2-3. Definitely, feeling like another one of those years where the Chargers just kind of
Another
go
lost season.
up and
Yeah.
down and don't quite get, to where they want to be. And, for the Cowboys, to get their bounce back, they win after getting throttled by the 49ers and, um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, Dak played. I got to give him credit. He played better in this game and made some plays. Made some plays with his feet, which is you're sensing a theme from me. I think overall line play in the NFL is way down, and that if you can draw a direct line from that to the lack of kids playing youth football for the last decade, I think because no one wants to be a lineman anymore because there's no glory in it. And the, injury and concussion piece of every play, you're smashing into, a huge guy across from you. Um, I think line play all around the country in college football is down too. So it's just very interesting. Um, anyway, to see Dak bounce back and have a nice game with his legs, and when he rolls out, he's dangerous because he can make those passes. And CD Lamb stepped up a little bit, so I don't like it, but I have to give them credit for pulling out this win, 2017, Dave.
yep. No, I'm with you. I don't like it either. Not, one of my favorites. Teams. I don't have the distaste that you do because they play in your division. You play them twice a year all the time and all of that.
Right.
But yeah, good solid win. These are games that if you're Dallas and you want to be successful, these are games during the season that you need to win.
Yeah, Dak said coming in this was a must win, and everyone rolled their eyes, but he's right. If they don't win, get the bounce back and start to build some confidence, they could have really lost the season early. Not that I'm saying they're going to not lose it later because that's what Dallas does. But
You're right. But to be 3-3 and chasing, tied with Washington, chasing the Eagles, a 49ers team that's already whomped on them. Like, you look at the NFC, Mike, and the Cowboys are the only 4-2 team. So
right.
that was a big win for them and really does help with some of that separation.
Right. I agree. So let's look at some matchups for next week, buddy. Thursday night game is Jaguars Saints. Could be entertaining. Saints
Yep.
defense is tough. Jaguars offense starting to roll. Travis
Starting to roll.
Etienne,
Yeah.
a true weapon in the backfield. So that could be a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is a Thursday night game, so you know how that goes.
Yep.
My Giants in the 1 o'clock slot against the Commanders.
Yep.
This is a game we have to win. We have to win.
Yep.
This is
Agreed.
a team that we should beat. Daniel Jones has had a lot of success against the Commanders in his career. Hopefully he's the one out there. playing. But the Commanders can be dangerous too. You know, they have a lot of weapons, and if they
Mhm.
decide that they want to play defense that day, have you ever seen a coach say less on the sideline than Ron Rivera? Like his mouth is glued shut. I mean, what is his
Yeah.
purpose out there? He doesn't wear a
Yeah.
headset. He
Yeah.
he got his arms folded, sunglasses on, and he just doesn't say a word. It's very very odd to me. But
Yeah.
anyway,
It is strange. And I would agree. That's a game the Giants need to win. The Bills go to 1-5 New England. Definitely a game that the Bills need to win. New England just not good. Okay.
it's not good.
They're
All
just
right,
not a good football team. The Bills need to beat up on them. We mentioned the Lions and Ravens. That's the 1 o'clock slot on Fox. So, hopefully a lot of the country gets to see that and gets to see the Lions. Um, Mike,
just real
go
quick
ahead.
on the Browns Colts. Uh, looks like Anthony Richardson's going to be out for the year, and you're going to get all you want of Gardner
Oh,
Minshew. Yeah.
oh no.
But that Browns defense could be ugly. But anyway,
Yeah, that could get ugly. Mike, the highlight game is Sunday night. The 5-1 Dolphins at the 5-1 Eagles. The you're going to have Philadelphia Phillies, Wild, with baseball as they're in the National League Championship
right.
Series. So the Philly fans are going to be fired up. They're going to be unhappy after losing to the Jets. So this will be a really, really great game, and this is as I said, the Sunday night game. So clearly the highlight game of the week. Mike,
Interestingly, Eagles -2
-2.
over under at 52. That seems a touch low, right?
Mm. Yeah, I think
Although the
so.
Eagles have not been putting up a lot of points, so
Yeah, and maybe
yeah.
that is the case as far as that goes. But yeah,
Monday night, you have Niners Vikings. Could be entertaining. You know, certainly see what the Niners do to bounce back, how healthy they are.
yeah,
Reports are that all three players that we've been mentioning, their injuries aren't serious, and they certainly seem like they're going to play on Monday night. But they'll know as the week progresses. So that's good news. You know, for football fans, I just like to see stars like Debo and McCaffrey, you know, on the field. Again, the Vikings without Justin Jefferson are just they're just bad
yep,
offensively. Yeah. So, but could be fun. Bye weeks if you need them. Bengals, Jets, Texans, Cowgirls, Panthers, Titans. Excuse me.
yeah,
Six teams on the bye week, Dave.
yep,
Interesting.
yep. I know the
Yeah.
Bengals because I got a bunch of Bengals on my fantasy teams. Again, nobody cares, but I always mention it every week. Uh, Interesting point with my fantasy. My two fantasy teams, I beat the top teams in both leagues this last week.
Okay.
So feeling pretty good about myself and my fantasy teams that they were able to step up this last week and knock off the top teams, kind of like the Eagles and the 49ers getting knocked off.
All right. A bizarro week all the way around in NFL and FFL football.
As far as that goes. But yeah, another fun conversation, Mike. Everybody, check us out on the socials, weigh in on our 5-1 team poll that's out there. We'd like to, get some more votes there and generate some more conversation. And we'll continue to be following all these NFL storylines, and baseball playoffs are happening, and some crazy stuff there. Mike said last week too, like the NBA is getting going, and so you're starting to see some preseason and lots of crazy
NBA
stuff going
TV, if
on.
you have it, has started their season previews for each team. They take a half hour, go over last year real quick, what their roster looks like, and what predictions they might make. So very interesting if you need something to go to sleep to after the baseball games.
But yeah, so check out all of that and keep paying attention to us on the socials and on Spotify and on YouTube here at Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen as we strive for five. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.